So someone asked a really good question yesterday in sessions about, she had said like, why do I need to deadlift heavy? Or like, why do I need to lift heavy, right? And it's a really good question because at a certain point, like you don't really need to lift stuff that's like more than, I don't know, probably like 90 pounds in your daily life, right? Probably like reasonably you don't, right? But that's not the point, because the point is not that we're trying to do exercises that replicate daily living. We're trying to do exercises that use the muscles in a way that is anatomically normal. That is what we call normal human movement. And so, like Josh doesn't really need to deadlift 315, but if he can deadlift 315, then when he goes to lift 90 pounds or 50 pounds or a bulky couch or something else that's bulky, it's a lot easier and he's more capable and less injury prone. The bar is intentionally very ergonomic. Does that make sense? It's like the best way we could possibly design an object in order to make strength training really safe, in order to get stronger. So again, the point is not that we're trying to replicate this in order to be able to do exactly this outside of human life. Because even like if I go to pick this bench up, like how I cannot deadlift this in a normal way, with the way we would with a barbell, because I can't get the center of mass touching my shins. So I'm more bent over. I might, if it's bulky enough, I might even have a rounded back. But because this is extremely submaximal compared to what I can deadlift, it's safe for me to do and it's very easy for me to do. So another great example I was saying to someone is like, you don't really need to press probably more than like 40 pounds in your daily life, but from an actual weight perspective. But if you can press 90 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, then when you come up on like something like you're in an airplane and you got to put a 30-pound bag overhead or a 40-pound bag overhead, you don't press like this, but you do put a bag overhead like this, which is very not ergonomic. And so you're much more capable at doing that. And so that's kind of the point, is we want to drive the weight up because that is the best way to make your muscles strong, so that when you go out in real life, you're less injury prone, you're more capable. Everything is more sub-maximal compared to what your capacity for strength is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions about that?
No, I mean, I'm so much more capable than I was.
And yet you're probably not deadlifting, and you're definitely not benching. You're not bench pressing out in the real world, right?
No.
Almost certainly not.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, stability. I mean, I've talked about all that stuff. Just like I haven't, now I'm gonna fall on my face, but yeah, I haven't tripped. I haven't, been, I've always been pretty awkward and not in control of my body, but yeah, it's just been so much better at that stuff.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah, and balance, people don't really realize it until they
It's huge.
don't have balance and then they get stronger and regain balance. But strength is very important in your balance. Balance is extremely dependent on your strength. Because I think you were saying the same thing, because you haven't fallen since you started lifting, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other benefits. And the thing is that all of that gets better. So I remember when I was like squatting, 315. And I remember thinking like, I don't need to get to 365. Like, it's not going to make my life any better. And then I got to 365 and it made my life better. And then I remember thinking, but that's fine. I don't need to get to 405. And then I got to 405 and my life was better. You know what I mean? Like it does fix everything. At a certain point, you get to the point where you're like, what's the next like 5 pounds worth? And that becomes kind of a different conversation. And it's a little harder at that point. But from a theoretical and even a practical standpoint, you want to be able to go higher and higher and higher when it's possible. But typically when you get to that point, life stresses, sickness, and then like random injuries just from being alive and being human will kind of knock you down, and then you'll work back up and then you'll get knocked down. And so that's like when you get to that kind of highest capacity, that limit, that's where you start to run into those problems. And unless your literal job is to do strength training, that'll be insurmountable, because you won't be able to dedicate the time to being able to do that.
Yeah, but also the benefit is, like, let's say, deadlift 315, right?
Yeah.
I get injured, my deadlift drops to 185. I'm still way better off than if I never trained at all.
Because you couldn't deadlift 185 when you started.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. No,
and so I slipped this is the most annoying thing. Like, I slipped my disc in my sleep, in my back. And even with that, where I couldn't walk 5 steps without my leg going numb, if I needed to, I still could have deadlifted probably 225. You know, a lot more than what a lot of people can. And then a week after that, when I was like starting to recover, I could like lift a lot more weight if I really had to. You know, I'd be in trouble the next day, but in an emergency situation, that'd be fine.
For me, I would say that's the big benefit, because like with my sprained ankle, like if I wasn't lifting or doing anything at all, my life would be way more miserable.
Right.
But from lifting and getting strength, like if I have to compensate on one leg, it has the strength to do that a lot better than if no training at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even with that, if you really had to right now, and I said like, you got to deadlift 225 for $1 million, you got to deadlift 225 or we're gonna die, you could do it fine.
Yeah.
You'd be unhappy the next day, but you'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, thanks guys.